What's happening? You Can't Play Boxing Podcast. We back. Episode 40. Excuse me, 43. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank everybody out there for listening to the podcast, for tapping in. I appreciate it. Thank y'all for fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? Number one. Number two, you can check us out on all our social platforms. Check us out on Instagram. That's You Can't Play Boxing. That's UCANTPLAYBOXING. Check out our website, Can't Play Boxing, YouTube, Twitter, all of that. So, you know what I'm saying? Appreciate that. Man, this episode right here is going to be heavy into the boxing. We got a lot of stuff that went on. So we're going to talk about the Anthony Joshua recap of his fight from last weekend. We're going to talk about what the heavyweight division looks like. We're going to talk about Shakur Stevenson, his fight last weekend. We're going to talk about, Berlanga. That's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. So it's going to be a heavy boxing type podcast. Not too much on the bullshit. It's going to be pretty much straight boxing. So to kick it off, though, number one, today, the Hall of Fame in boxing, they came out with the 2021 class. And man, this class is it's one of the best classes. You know, it's a dope ass class. Now, don't get me wrong. Anytime you got the Hall of Fame, you're talking about some of the best fighters of the generation. You know what I'm saying? So in this class, bro, we got Floyd Mayweather. We got Vladimir Klitschko. Even though Klitschko had his, you know what I'm saying, he had his faults, he was definitely one of the best of the last 20 years in the heavyweight division. We got my dude, Andre Ward. Just ran into him, like I said, a couple weeks ago. If you want to see how that came about, you can listen to, I think it's episode 41 or episode 40. We got Hall of Famer Andre Ward. We got Ann Wolfe, man. Ann Wolfe, a lot of people, y'all might know her from training, you know what I'm saying, James Kirkland. But Ann Wolfe, bruh, in the women's division, she was a beast. She's still a beast. I would want to fight Ann Wolfe right now. You know what I'm saying? She a beast, bruh. So, but shout out to Ann Wolfe, one of the best in women's boxing ever. Speaking of women's boxing, when you think about women's boxing in the last 20 years, we got another Hall of Famer. Her dad was one of the greatest of all time. We got Layla Ali hopping in the Hall of Fame. So this is going to be a very, 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 very star-studded, you know what I'm saying, class. I'm really pleased with this class. A lot of my favorite fighters and people that I have watched from afar or watched closely, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them got in the Hall of Fame this time. And you can think about it, we got to salute all of them, because one of the things that we don't do a lot of times, we don't give credit to people who out there really doing it. And to be in the Hall of Fame, bro, you're talking about people out of the hundreds of fighters, the thousands of fighters that are fighting in a certain time period. These are the cream of the crop who, most of the time, when their number was called and when somebody was facing them, they came out victorious. You know what I'm saying? In the toughest of environments. You know what I'm talking about? They put in that work. They put in that work in training. They put in their work in the ring. They put in their work with the dedication. So we gotta start giving people their flowers. You know what I'm saying? The people, we gotta really start saluting excellence. You know what I'm saying? So I want to give a salute out to everybody who got inducted. I definitely deserve it. And I appreciate the service and the hard work and you put into your craft. Is to be saluted 110%. So shout out to everybody who got inducted. So moving right along, bruh. Let's tap into some of the things that happened last weekend. This episode may be a little quick, you know what I'm saying, because it's gonna be heavy boxing. We had a fight. We had two major fights this past weekend. We had Shakur Stevenson. He fought, and on the undercard, you know, Top Rank, they got somebody, bruh. They got Edgar Berlanga. You know what I'm saying? He super middleweight, knocking out everybody. You know what I'm saying? 16-0, 16 first round knockouts. He definitely is a prospect, you know what I'm saying? But we gonna find out more about him as a boxer once he starts facing tougher competition. Now, what I will say is that he wants to fight tougher competition. So that's a good thing, and hopefully in 2021, we see more of that. But right now, you know, he's showing that he has that ferociousness in him. But, you know, we see this happen. We see prospects like this come along in boxing to where they knock out everybody in a quick fashion. And then when they face somebody who they can't knock out, how, you know, sometimes mentally it does something to you. If you're used to knocking people out and you hit a dude with a shot that normally was crushing everybody and your opponent doesn't go down, like, how do you adjust mentally? So I want to see him face, you know what I'm saying, tougher competition. I think he has the height, he has the punching power and the volume. We just got to see how does he mature when he faces adversity. How does he mature when he's facing a slick boxer? How does he mature when he's facing somebody who's coming? It's a lot of different looks that he needs, you know what I'm saying? So I want to see more, but he definitely has the goods. So shout out to Edgar Berlanga, you know what I mean? All right. On the main event of that card was Shakur Stevenson. He got in there. He pretty much dominated his fight. And Shakur is another one. He definitely got the skills. Just want to see him. You know, I think in 2021 we're gonna see him step up and face tougher competition, and that's gonna kind of tell us. But you can tell he's putting in that work, especially in the gym. His back is getting broader. You know what I'm saying? He's getting that. He's growing into his body. You know what I'm saying? He's getting that grown man weight. So I can see him definitely being at 130, 135, 140 in the next 2-3 years. Easy, you know what I'm saying? So in those divisions, you're going to have some people. You got some fights there. So I think Shakur is definitely a good prospect. And I'm looking to see more. Speaking of Shakur Stevenson, you know, typically when he fights on ESPN, Andre Ward was serving as his co-manager. However, it was announced that Andre Ward is no longer his co-manager. I think Jay Prince is still his co-manager. It's still his manager, but Andre Ward was, you know, their relationship as far as being a co-manager that dissolved. You know what I'm saying? And in the boxing media, you started to see some guys who got a vendetta against Dre, you know what I'm saying? They were happy. I don't get that, bro. Like, why do you care if another man's business relationship dissolve? Like, how does that help you, To me, that's like, I'm just gonna be straight up. That's bitch shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's some feet, and nothing against women, because it's just like, that's not. I'm trying to be diplomatic, man. That's not the type of behavior that I would be proud of. Put it like that. As a man, when you look at yourself on, your YouTube, whatever, if you think that's cool for you to, so you'd be happy that another man is not a manager. Like, what is this? Like, preschool? I mean, come on, bro. But whatever. So, that relationship dissolved, you know what I'm saying? But, Dre is smart, bro. Like, he's not a dummy. And I don't know what happened between him and Shakur, but, things happen, If you're a manager, like, that shit, you get fighters and you lose fighters. I mean, this is part of the game. So it's nothing to cry about, and it's nothing for somebody to kind of have a celebration about, you know what I'm saying? So, but whatever. So what we're going to do real quick, we're going to take a real quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Anthony Joshua's KO win. We're going to talk about the heavyweight division. And we're going to see what things going. So get something to drink. Grab something to eat. Grab all of that. And we'll be back in 45 seconds. What's up? It's that time of the show where we kind of give a shout out to our sponsors. The sponsor today is Anchor. Anchor is everything you need to create your own podcast. You can use Anchor to distribute your show. They'll kind of get it out for you. And all you have to do is do it from your cell phone or your microphone, however you want to do it. But if you want to get your voice out there, if you want to talk to the people, there's no better place to do it than Anchor. So download the app Anchor, or go to their website, anchor.com. It'll distribute your podcast on all platforms. So again, Anchor. Yeah, we back. You Can't Play Boxing Podcast, episode 43. Hope everybody got a little snack, you know what I'm saying? Or you're still driving in your car, you running, whatever you doing, you know what I'm saying? You listening on your bed, you're listening in your headphones, shit, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all again for listening. As I said, the listenership is growing. I appreciate it a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate all of y'all who listen and tapping into this boxing news and this boxing analysis, all the time. So I appreciate it. So to get back into the boxing thing, you know what I'm saying? What we're going to talk about is last weekend we had Anthony Joshua. He fought Kubrat Pulev, you know what I'm saying? It was a mandatory fight that he had. It was Anthony Joshua's first time fighting since last December when he fought Andy Ruiz, you know what I'm talking about. So he fought Andy Ruiz last December in Saudi Arabia. And in that fight, Anthony Joshua, he won his belts back. He beat Andy Ruiz, but we didn't see the same Anthony Joshua in that last fight against Ruiz. We saw a more cautious Anthony Joshua. We saw kind of similar to another Hall of Famer we just talked about earlier. When Vladimir Klitschko, early on in his career, when he got knocked out, I think that was against Brewster back in 2004, there was talks about his chin, the same way there's talks about Joshua's chin because he got knocked down a few times against Klitschko and, of course, against Andy Ruiz multiple times. So the same thing that Klitschko did, started using his advantages, started to use his size and his height. That's the same thing that Joshua is doing right now, or in the last two fights. You're not seeing Joshua be as aggressive as he was before. He's a lot more cautious. And I think, the Andy Ruiz fight, the first fight when he got knocked out, that does something to you psychologically. You start to think like, damn, can I take a punch? I don't want to get hit with nothing like that no more because that's detrimental. Like nobody wants to get buzzed, but when you get knocked out, that really does something to you. And especially you got knocked out and you got all your belts taken away and you were the favorite, and people were basically, if you didn't win the next fight, you were left for dead. You know what I'm saying? So you saw Anthony Joshua become a more cautious fighter, which is not a bad thing. I mean, that's a smart thing to do, especially when you lose, you know what I mean? So in this fight with Pulev, Pulev, he didn't really do too much. He had one gear for the most part. And this was a perfect fight for Joshua because he didn't have to push the button too much. He didn't have to push his feet on the gas too much. He was really there to be hit all the time. And it was perfect for Joshua to kind of figure things out and not have somebody who's going to press him, you know what I'm saying, who's going to be aggressive. So Joshua was able to kind of, he was definitely cautious in the beginning of the fight. The third round, he caught Pulev and he knocked him down twice. If he had a few more seconds, he probably was going to get him out of there. But, Pulev was saved by the bell. And like I mentioned before, in the subsequent rounds, Pulev, he was getting a couple shots off, but nothing that Joshua had to worry about, So in the 8th round, Joshua caught him, dropped him, and then now I will say this though, Joshua was not a fool. He knew by the 8th round, as he knocked Pulev down for the 3rd time, he knew that he was no threat. And that, I will say, that KO that he had in the 8th, that was nasty. It was like 1-2, I see you later. He walked that walk-off KO. That was some highlight reel shit. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Anthony Joshua for delivering. When you see you got somebody hurt, just dropping the hammer on them and getting them out of there. That was a work of art right there. So after beating Pulev, people thinking like, okay, where does Joshua go from here? Number one, the fight was in London, so there was a limited spectatorship. I think they had 1,000 people they allowed in the arena. One of those 1,000 people was Floyd Mayweather. He made his way over to London for the fight. So that was interesting to see. It kind of reinforced what Deontay Wilder was saying, though. I mean, Floyd has never really been, I don't think, a big Deontay fan because, a lot of boxing purists see the flaws that Deontay has. And I think Floyd definitely has a better relationship with Joshua. But yeah, he was in attendance, and everybody started to talk about what's the next fight for Joshua. If you listen to Top Rank and Eddie Hearn, they're trying to make that Joshua versus Tyson Fury fight next. I'm not mad if I get that fight. I would want to see that fight, but something in the back of my mind, bro, I want to see Tyson Fury live up to his contract that he signed and fight Deontay Wilder for the third fight. If he wins, hey, it's over with, Wilder got 2 losses, and Tyson Fury could go ahead and fight Joshua. But I think he should live up to his contract that he got. And but if he doesn't, and he fights Joshua, hey, I'm with that fight too. But yeah, I would prefer the Wilder fight first. I know I'm in the minority as far as wanting that, but I just want to see some somewhat closure on that chapter. And we'll see how it goes. If Tyson Fury were to fight Anthony Joshua, I would say Tyson Fury would be the favorite. I think his style is better. It's more suited for Anthony Joshua, especially in the current state we have Anthony Joshua being in. So yeah, that'll be an interesting fight, bro. And because I think, like I mentioned before, Anthony Joshua still has some after effects of the Andy Ruiz knockout from 18 months ago. As much as he's getting past that, he won the last 2 fights, which is great. It's still in the back of his mind. So I think Tyson Fury would be a lot to handle for Anthony Joshua. So what we're going to do real quick, since we're going to put a button on this episode coming up, but before we do that, we're going to talk about who do I have as the top 5 heavyweights in light of that Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, light of the Anthony Joshua KO. So number 5, actually, I'm sorry. I still got Luis Ortiz, number 5. I think Ortiz is somebody that nobody wants to face, even though they call him old and all this shit. I don't see anybody rushing to get in the ring with him. You know what I'm talking about? So, people talk that shit, but they ain't trying to fight Luis Ortiz, no matter how old he is. Number 4, I'm going to do Alexander Usyk. Usyk is another mandatory fighter, contender for Anthony Joshua to fight if he can't make that Tyson Fury fight. So he cleaned out the cruiserweight division. Real good fighter, but I don't know if he has the size in heavyweight, but we shall see. Number 3, just talked about him, Deontay Wilder. Got the 1 loss to Tyson Fury. What's going to happen? Is he going to fight Tyson Fury next? Is it going to be somebody else? Currently, he is in court to enforce their contract. So we'll see if that's going to happen. Number 2, I'm going to put Anthony Joshua after this fight. I think he's getting his legs under him. I think he's getting his confidence back slowly but surely. And I think, with Deontay, we don't know where he's at right now in light of the excuses and trainer situation. And it's going to be like a year in another 2 months that he hadn't been in the ring, so we'll see how that goes. And number 1, Tyson Fury, guys, the number 1 heavyweight. I think Tyson Fury, what more can you say, bro? He's the lineal champion. I don't think he's unbeatable. Like, any heavyweight can be beaten. But I do think he's the top dog right now, you know what I'm saying? So that's my top 5 heavyweights. Like I said before, we're going to wrap up this episode. It was real heavy on just straight boxing. It was no bullshit. We didn't do the bullshit this week. Hopefully we'll bring some of the bullshit back on the next episodes. We only got really, damn, I'm tripping. Hold up, we can't end the episode. This weekend, we got 2 big fights. Yeah, 2 big fights this weekend. We got Triple G versus, I don't know who Triple G's fighting. And then we got the big fight. We got Canelo facing Callum Smith. You know what I'm saying? Callum Smith. Out of the UK. And so both those fights going to be on DAZN. The Triple G fight is on Friday. The Canelo fight is on Saturday. The Canelo facing Callum Smith. Callum Smith is a good, solid UK fighter. Has a belt. I think he is, again, a solid fighter. I don't think he's on Canelo's level, but I do think that he's going to provide us a stiff test for Canelo. I expect Canelo to win this fight. He's more talented. But I think this is going to be a good, solid competition for him, a good, solid matchup. Canelo could win by late stoppage. Or it could go to the cards. I'm not sure. But I definitely think Canelo is he's who I predict to win. The Triple G fight is interesting because Triple G in his last last 2-3 years, number one, Triple G is a good fighter. I'm not going to say he's not a good fighter. However, in the last 3-4 years, we haven't seen the quote unquote killer, you know what I'm saying, Triple G, where everybody was afraid of him. I mean, Danny Jacobs took him 12 rounds, and some people thought Danny Jacobs won that fight. I thought it was either Danny Jacobs won or it was a draw. Then, of course, the Canelo fights, people said Triple G won or Canelo won. However you had it, Triple G did not knock out Canelo or drop him in 24 rounds of them fighting. So he wasn't the killer that he was fighting everybody else. And then, you had the Derevyanchenko fight where Derevyanchenko, gave Triple G all he wanted, So Triple G is definitely getting older. So it's going to be interesting to see what he still has in the tank, because Canelo's basically said, I don't really want to fight Triple G. That's nothing for me. And Triple G is not getting better. You know what I'm saying? He's not. He's old. He's the older fighter. He may have a little bit more in the tank. This fight would kind of tell me how much he has in the tank against someone he has more natural talent than. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see how this fight goes. We're going to recap those 2 fights next week. We're going to do an episode next week. And then we got another episode as far as the end of the year awards. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about KO of the year, fights of the year, fighter of the year. So we got a lot of different things we're going to talk about on those episodes. We're about to wrap up this second season. Again, I appreciate everybody who's been listening. And, check us out on all our social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube. Instagram is You Can't Play Boxing. That's UCANTPLAYBOXING. Website, Can't Play Boxing. You got the YouTube, you got the Twitter. Yeah, man, check us out. So until next time, everybody enjoy the fights this weekend, and then tap in next week. Peace.